The 2010 MLS SuperDraft was to start with the league's newest team, the Philadelphia Union. A week prior to the draft, the team staff headed down to the MLS Combine in Florida to make their final evaluations.
The Combine is 3 days. You get to see 4 games and that's it. You're off, or 6 games and you're off and running. So you really got to do a lot of homework beforehand. The Combine really confirms a lot of stuff for us, gives us an opportunity to meet those guys one-on-one and, you know, maybe do some more recruiting above the neckline, so to speak. The way we're looking at the Combine and the players here is we're really focused on wide midfielders, central attacking midfielders, and forwards.
Philadelphia had zeroed in on one forward in particular and worked extra hard to make sure they got their man.
Danny Mwenga wasn't going to sign with Major League Soccer. He was going to go to Europe. Peter did a tremendous job. 2 days before Christmas, flew to Oregon, met with Danny, convinced him it was best for his career to stay here. He agreed, signed a contract, and we got our guy. We think we may want to make some moves to pick up some other first-round picks because we think there's some good young talent there that fits what we're looking for. There's a player that impressed us yesterday, actually, in a freezing rain. In that game yesterday, McNerney, very good player. We're focused on him as our second pick. We may even want to move up in the first round to ensure that we get him.
While Philadelphia already knew its #1 pick, 6 spots later at number 7, DC United's path was less clear.
It's a matter of, looking at our roster, seeing where, putting together a depth chart, figuring out exactly who we want, and there's a lot of moving parts because we're looking at players that from the outside that we can bring in as well. There's going to be good players available. Players like Zach Lloyd could possibly be available, Corbin Bone, Zach Shalowski, players like that. We look at this draft as an opportunity to get another good player that's going to add depth to our group.
DC managed to land that player before the draft even began and helped the Union make their move in the process.
Today has been quite a flurry of activity in terms of trades, one of which we just pulled off and will be announced probably later today or tomorrow. A big trade with DC United that involves a U.S. national team player, the #7 pick, and some cash. That was a very big deal for us because we identified some guys that we kind of confirmed things on that we want to pick in that 7th slot. We'll pick McInerney 7 if he's still available. Also, we're working on maybe getting another pick a little bit higher up for another player. We'll huddle up again tonight and I'm sure review a bunch of deals that have been put on the table today. That's what Peter and John are doing. They're running around. John's almost permanently on a cell phone like this, talking to teams.
One of those teams was likely the New York Red Bulls, whose new GM, Eric Soler, was getting a crash course in the workings of the MLS SuperDraft.
There's only one way, and that is to trust the people you're going to work with. I have to trust that the people who are already here, that seems to be very clever soccer people, a guy like Richie, a guy like Des, and I have Jeff and I have Chris, people who have been in this game for a long time. I was at the Combine, I looked at the players there, and we compared what we saw at the Combine with what they had seen before, and that's really what it's down to. I feel that management of a club, if you don't have the ability to trust the people that are doing the job for you, then you have a problem. We have 7 picks, and we're thinking about the first pick or the second pick that we have, and we're pretty comfortable with the first pick. It's more difficult when it comes to the second and third pick, for instance, because the ones we wanted might be gone. I'm sure before the draft tomorrow we will discuss with the various clubs a lot of different situations and see what we can do. So, of course, bringing in 7 young players in one season would not be very wise.
While New York had 7 picks to play with, DC was down to just a fourth-round selection following the trade for Perkins.
Troy is what we think is one of the better goalkeepers in the United States and certainly in MLS. He had a great stint in DC before, and for us that was priority number one. We're going into the season with a goalkeeper that was injured, had 2 surgeries in the offseason, and won't be ready to start the season. For us, that was a major priority. You know, it's obviously a different day. You know, we have to wait till the 55th pick, and it's just a matter of can we find a player that's kind of a diamond in the rough with the 55th pick that can make our team. And you know, often fourth-round draft picks are guys that don't always make your roster. So. We're going to keep our fingers crossed. We have some guys that we've identified that we think could help us, and we'll see how it goes as the draft unfolds.
On the next episode of Inside the SuperDraft, we'll take you onto the draft room floor and behind the scenes as the Union and Red Bulls give unprecedented access to their draft day decision.
The fun starts.